Hey, this is Andrew Brown. In this video, I want to show you how to cross-reference stacks. And this is something I actually use quite a bit because when you are creating large infrastructure, you will have to define where your boundaries are going to be for those CloudFormation stacks. You naturally figure out where those boundaries are, working with those services and understanding what you would want to peel back from your IAC onion, if you will. But we're probably not going to get into a really good example. I'm just going to show you how cross-referencing stacks work. So we'll go ahead and open this up. And so I'm opening this up in Gitpod as I want to be able to use the AWS CLI. Of course, as always, use Cloud9, code spaces, your local developer environment, but understand that I already have my stuff configured with AWS CLI, my credentials, and you will have to do the same. So I'm looking for our CloudFormation folder, which I believe is called CFN. I'm going to make a new folder in here, and this will be for cross-reference stacks. And I need a simple one to start with, so I'm just trying to think where I might have a simple one. And maybe under stack updates, we have a simple one. Yeah, this one's really simple, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And we'll say allow, and we'll go into the cross-reference stacks. I'll paste this in here. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to make a folder called bin, and then I'm going to make a folder called CFN. And this is actually how I organize my, when I have multiple scripts, this is how I like to do it. So you can do it however you want, but this is how I'm doing it. And so the idea is I'm going to have our main template, and I'll make a another one called secondary YAML. Sometimes you'd name this after what it is. So maybe this could be like a bucket, if we would. And then the idea is that we have our one deploy script. I was thinking maybe I might have to have multiple deploy scripts. I'm thinking if we have cross-reference stack, yeah, we're going to have more than one. So we'll have deploy main. So I'm just going to rename this to main. And then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it again. Hopefully it'll let me do that. And then this one's going to be bucket. And so the idea is that we'll have two separate deployment scripts. So go up here, and this one's going to be called cross stack main. Whoops. Cross stack main. And this will be cross stack bucket. And I want these to reference their respected ones. So I think if we do CFN template, as long as we're executing this at this folder level, I think that it will know how to reference it correctly. We don't have to do anything crazy here. So this will be CFN template for the main, and this one will be CFN bucket. There we go. And so I think that will suffice. So I'll go down here, and the idea is that we have our main template. So we could say this one is an EC2 instance, and the other one is a bucket. So I'm going to just copy this file here, unless these are already duplicated. They're not. I'm just going to copy this one here, and we'll paste this in here. I'm going to take out the bucket as such, and then I'm going to take out the bucket name here as well for now. And then this one will only have the bucket. All right. So now the next thing we need to do is we're going to need to have outputs, because the idea is that when you want to reference across things, you need to have the stack name. So I'm just trying to think about this for a moment. So the idea here is we have a bucket, and then we want to deploy it, and then we want to know what that stack is. So I'm going to go here and say parameters, and then we'll just say bucket stack name, and this will be type string. And then the idea is that this will be whatever we called this one. So this one is called cross stack bucket. So this will be called cross stack bucket, because we already know that it's going to be called that. All right. So that's that part there, but we're also going to, I'm just trying to think here. I think that's fine, but yeah, just give me a second here. So I have, these are a little bit older, but they're like 3 years old, but the point is that these are where I was using lots of cross-reference stacks. And so I'm just gonna go in here and see if I can find some here so I don't have to like read up on it. So you already see there's like template extend, that might be one that is there. And so what I'm looking for in my templates here is, see where I have bootstrap stack? So if I go down below here, I'm just again checking for this here. I was hoping that as soon as I started working with this, it would just start coming back to me immediately, but it's not um, materializing instantly here. Because I'm seeing also here a nested stack, but the idea is that I want to reference things, and I believe that we have to use import value for that to work. So that's what I'm looking for is import value as an example. Oh, here's one. Okay, great. And so the idea is that imagine that we want to bring in a value, then we would import it and then specify it this way. So this is the code that I'm looking for in particular. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab this, and I'm going to go back over to here. And the idea is that we'll paste this in here as such. And instead of calling this, bucket stack name, I'll just say bucket stack. And then down below here, we would have to put in bucket stack. And then whatever the exported value out is. And so this could be something like name, or let's say bucket name, okay? And so in here, we don't really have a practical example, but let's say we want to do tags. And we'll have a key here, and we'll just say associated bucket and value. And then we could go here and import that value here. Okay, so the idea is that if we want to import this, then we have to have an export. So in our outputs here, we'll do outputs, and I'm not going to supply the bucket name. I'm just going to let it randomly generate here. And I'm going to look for an outputs example. Okay, we'll grab this whole one here. Paste that in here. And so this will just be bucket name. And then this will be bucket name. And we will reference this as such. So we'll just say bucket, S3 bucket. I believe it returns the name. If it doesn't, that's not a big deal. And then this is our export. So this is where we want to specify the stack. So I'm going to give it a sub. And we are going to use the pseudo parameter stack name. And then we'll say bucket name. And so the idea is that we can now reference this from over here. But that means that we need to first deploy our bucket and then our, I call it main, but yeah, our main template, I suppose, here. Let's just hover over here and see if there's an issue. It's saying it's expecting a string. There is no problem here. Maybe it just wants this. Notice that we can't use two of these. Okay, that's not going to work. Whenever you have two intrinsic functions, you just simply can't use the shorthand twice, and you'll have to utilize one of them using regular JSON or YAML, if that makes sense. But I believe that this is going to work. So we'll cd into our CloudFormation folder here, and let's go ahead and deploy. So this will be deploy bucket. Hopefully that works. It says when calling the create change sets parameters, null values are not allowed. So let's go over to here because maybe we are passing something in here. It's just we have no parameter here, so we'll just take that out of there. That was the problem. And we'll go ahead and deploy this again. So that might have been our issue. Looks like it's creating. I'm going to make my way over to CloudFormation. It did create it. Excellent. We'll go over to here. We'll accept our change set. Looks good to me. Excellent. And we will wait for that to deploy first. All right, so one is complete here. Let's make our way back over to here. And let's see if we can deploy our referenced stack. And before we do, let's just go back here and look at our outputs. And notice that we have our export name as cross stack bucket name. So that is pretty straightforward. And we will go ahead and deploy main. And hopefully this one just works. That'd be nice if it does. And I'll go back over to here. And we'll execute the change set. And so we will wait and see if that works. Wow, that was fast. It does not like something. And we'll have to move this over here. I'm not sure why this UI is so awful. Resource handler, the architecture ARM64 of specified instance type does not match the XA. Okay, so I think it's not an issue of this. It's just that this says T4G and we want T3 micro here. So that probably will resolve our issue right away. Also assuming that the thing that we copy from is in CA Central 1. Of course, you might have to update these just in case. So you can always be aware of that. But I'm going to go ahead and deploy this and see what happens. And we got to wait for the delete to finish. Anytime now. I guess I'll just wait a bit. Okay, so that one is now teared down. We'll go ahead and try to deploy this again for our cross-reference stack. And hopefully we have less issues this time around. We'll just wait around a little bit here and see if it fails. Seems like it's okay, and so we'll wait for this to finish creating, okay? There we go. So our cross-reference stack has been deployed. Let's go take a look at that EC2 instance as we want to see if we were able to get the name of the bucket to show up under tags. So we go over here to tags, and is it there? Associated bucket. There it is. There you go. So that works. Now understand with these that you cannot just tear down this one because you have to tear them down in order. And so that's just how nested stacks work. If we try to tear it down, it would complain. I'm not going to show you that. There's no point. But we'll tear this one down first, and then we'll tear down the other one, okay? All right, so that one's teared down. We'll go ahead and tear this one down. There's nothing in the bucket, so there's nothing that's going to prevent it from deleting. So we'll consider this one down. And so we have finished our cross-referenced stack. And I will see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.